I went and worked with Greg Wells for about 8 months building his new studio. So Greg's new room is a new big beautiful Atmos studio, and I oversaw that installation and worked on that full time for about 8 or 9 months. Helped out with Chris Lord-Alge's room, mostly doing like Dante setup and making a ton of Cat 6 cables and kind of overseeing like the installation of like the renderer computer and things like that. Like my full-time gig was getting Greg's Atmos studio ready. Yeah. And we were under a really tight deadline, and I was just working like full time, as many hours as I could on that until we were done.
Was it fun to build an Atmos room?
Yeah, it was really cool. It was a new challenge. It was a new, it was just a lot of speakers.
Yeah.
Like the best way to sum, like every challenge in building the Atmos room could be summed up with that there was a speaker everywhere. So we're laying out the rack design, and you have to consider the fact that the racks can only be so tall because there's a speaker firing off of every wall and every part of the ceiling, and you can't block the path of, any of these 20 speakers.
Oh my god.
And so the racks can only be so tall. And so I was like, okay, well, we want to make the racks make sense and not, we don't want to, but Greg also has a ton of outboard gear, and we're not trying to like throw things that he's going to reach for all the time in the back of the room or things like that. And so that was the real design challenge.
So I was curious, like, doing the whole like Atmos thing for Greg Wells. Did you think about doing Atmos for yourself? What was your thoughts like having seen that whole thing come to fruition and then building your own studio? Like, what are your thoughts on that in general?
But it is a really exciting format, and I think a lot of people were really on the fence. And then once I went into some really great rooms that were set up with it and I've heard some really exciting things, and things that people were working on. And once I was able to do that, I was sold.
I'm skeptical of like people listening to it more than it being made, and people are basically just going to hear it on headphones. They're not actually going to hear it on speakers.
I mean, I think that's what's cool about it, is that it translates so well to headphones. And I think that's why a lot of the people that do a lot of work in that are so conscious of the headphone mix and spend so much time in the headphones. Because the ultimate idea is that it's one mix that scales to all these different formats, and you can have some consistency. That's exciting. And you can do a mix that'll fit right into a film and something that someone can listen to on their AirPods or in their car or on their sound bar. I mean, honestly, I think sound bars is where it's making itself into the consumer space. And then I don't know if you've looked at like new TVs, but lots of newer TVs that are hitting the market like now. I recently just bought one and was surprised to see how many TVs have some form of native Atmos support. It functions similar to how it does on the soundbar, and some of them have like remote speakers that'll connect via Bluetooth and stuff like that. But it's being integrated in ways like that where I don't think there's going to be this big consumer rush to go out and buy like pro level Atmos systems and stuff like that. I think it's just an inevitability.
Yeah. I guess it's going to be an interesting like 10 years or whatever it is ahead of us.
Yeah. And it's future proof and things like, because of how it plays on whatever system you have.